Thanks for tuning in to Commercial Real Estate Explained. We help people make informed decisions about commercial real estate. This is going to be tip number 3 for helping building owners add value to their commercial real estate. We talk a lot about buyers on this channel, but we're going to start putting out more content to help people that currently own commercial real estate, to help them optimize their buildings so when they decide to sell, they can sell for the best possible price. So this is our next tip, and that is going to be to gradually and reasonably increase rents. I know that sounds obvious. I think that's one of those things that when you're a commercial real estate investor, you look at the rent roll and you say, oh my gosh, all these rents are so low. I can't believe that. Why would they let these rents be so low? When I own this building, I'm going to increase everyone's rent. They're just going to know that they're going to have to pay more because that's what's fair and that's what's market. I think we all know that it's not that easy in reality. A lot of times you buy a building, you get to know some of your tenants. Some of them make it really clear they can't afford to pay more rent. Some of them you get to know, you feel bad increasing their rent. You're afraid you're going to lose tenants. We're just also afraid of conflict, especially mom and pop owners that don't pay property managers or don't want to have their own leasing brokers. A lot of times they just kind of take I'm just going to let the status quo maintain. I'm not going to raise rent just because I don't really want to deal with it. I certainly understand that, but that is not the best way to run a commercial real estate building. The value of your building in most cases is going to depend on the rents that you have coming in. It's going to be the income that your building produces. So if you are not maximizing your rents, you are leaving value on the table. The other thing to keep in mind is if you haven't raised rents for 10 years, it's going to be even more difficult and awkward when you go to your tenants and start talking about increasing rents. That's why I think it's important to start immediately and also to make sure you are reasonable in those increases. Once again, you can kind of just say, oh, well, we'll just let their rent stay. It's better than having a vacancy, which we certainly understand. But as a building owner, you have to realize that your tenant doesn't really want to move unless your building is terrible or there's something else going on. So the reality is there is a certain amount more rent they're probably willing to pay before they would get up and move. And what you have to really figure out is what is the market rent that I could charge, and then how much do I feel comfortable charging? Those are two different numbers. Once again, if you're just a robot and there's no relationship and you just said these are the new market rents, either pay them or get out, you can definitely take that approach. And I know landlords that do. But most kind of mom and pop owners, what you want to do is basically figure out the market rent and then go to your tenant and say, hey, look, here are 4 comps that were provided by my broker. It shows that the project right next door is charging, let's say, $2 a square foot. You're only at $1.50 a square foot. You've been there for 5 years. With inflation and labor and building materials and everything else that's going on in the world, I need to have closer to market rent. You could tell them you want full market, it needs to be $2. You can definitely take that approach. Or what you could say is, hey, look, I think market's more like $2. You're at $1.50. Why don't we compromise at, let's say, $1.75 and have it go up 5 cents every year for the next 4 years? That is an approach that you can sort of justify to your tenants without coming across as completely unreasonable and ruthless. Once again, everyone negotiates in different ways. I tend to like to have good relationships when I'm negotiating. I just feel like the next time around, it lends itself to a better outcome. If you have a scorched earth negotiation with somebody, they are going to screw you as soon as they get the chance. And that's the downside to just taking that sort of ruthless approach of this is the rent I want. If you don't like it, you can get out. So that's basically what this whole video is about here is don't be afraid to look at your rent roll, talk to a professional and figure out if your tenant's rents are below market and think about how much of an increase are you willing to discuss with your tenant. Really, at the end of the day, it's a bit of a risk. If you are very confident your tenant's not going to leave, maybe you push all the way up to market rent. If you think that they're struggling and that if you push rent too much that they're going to close down, then you want to consider that too. Once again, as a tip to add value to commercial real estate, make sure you're looking at your rent roll at least a couple of times a year and taking a look at the market and making sure you're not significantly below market in your rents. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Hopefully it gives you a little value. Please hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks and have a great rest of your week.